My name's Shell. Welcome to my channel where I'm losing weight using the Slimming World plan. That sounds really nice to say that again because it's been a while. So thank you for everybody who stayed with me, and welcome to anybody who's watching for the first time. Last year I lost almost 3 stones with Slimming World, just half a pound off getting my 3 stone award, and then it all went awry around about October. If you're interested in any of that, you can go back and watch the videos that I did as I was doing them each week. Into the new year I stopped doing videos round about, I think it was round about the end of February, because I'd stopped really doing the plan. I wasn't really piling weight on then, I was just treading water. I was doing the plan some days, not doing it other days, and I just didn't feel that it was worth taking out another countdown when I was barely sticking to the plan. So I decided to have a break, which I did talk about on my last video. During the 4 months that I've been away, it's been quite difficult really, because my mum went into a home and it did look at one time that we might lose her fairly quickly. So I was going up to Cumbria every other week for a few days, and she's very difficult because she's very physically, well, she can't get out of bed and she has quite bad dementia, and it's very hard for her and very hard for the family, and it was quite stressful. So when I was going up there, often as a family we would go out after a visit with her when it hadn't gone very well, and we'd go out and maybe have a few drinks. I'll go for a pub meal, and when I got home I wasn't feeling like doing the plan at all. But once I stopped going to Slimming World, I have to say that things did spiral out of control, and I did start putting weight on quite quickly. For maybe a month or two I probably put on about another stone, maybe another stone and a half, and then things started to level out a little bit more once I got over that, and plus my mum started to get a bit better. She's now eating and drinking properly, and although her situation's bad, it doesn't look like we're going to lose her anytime soon. So I've stopped going up to Cumbria every fortnight, and I'm probably going up now about every 3 weeks. So a little while ago, about a month ago, I thought I'm going to have to do something to slow this down, but I couldn't feel there was anything I could do. I think once you get on that roller coaster where there's a lot of junk food crept in, and I tend to eat, the more junk food I eat the more I want, and it goes in a circle like that, and I was putting weight on quite rapidly. And I was trying to think what I could do, and I was watching a lady called Ailsa, and she has a channel called Ailsa Living Well, and she has been cutting out all ultra processed foods, and she's done really well actually. She's lost, quite gradually, she lost about 7 stones, and I like the way she eats, and I like her videos and the way she talks about food, and I thought I could try and at least head in that direction. So that's what I started about a month ago. I thought I'm going to cut out the worst processed food that I eat. So I started cutting out a lot of the fake meats, vegan cheeses, cakes, biscuits, all that kind of stuff. And I'd only been doing it about a week or so, and I started to feel an awful lot better. There's a lot of talk about food noise around at the minute, and I noticed that my food noise, which I have a lot of when I'm not doing well, my food noise was getting better, even over a short period like a week, to the point where I thought, I think I can go back to Slimming World and start again, which is what I did. So 3 weeks ago I went back to Slimming World, and I had put on not quite all the 3 stones that I lost last year, but it wasn't far off. So I started at 11 stones 5 this time back. I wasn't going to do videos again. I decided no, I would just do it quietly on my own. But I was quite shocked on going back to Slimming World on the changes that had occurred. The group that I go to, last time I went, the room was absolutely heaving. It was too busy for me really. I don't like a busy group. I don't know how many people were there. It must have been 40, upwards of 40. And it was very crowded and very noisy and very lively. And it really was buzzing. And this time when I went, I thought, well, I hope it's not going to be too busy. Maybe I can sit at the back and keep quiet. And when I went in, it was dead. And it was just before the time to start the group talk, so it wasn't as if I got there early. There was hardly anybody there. They hadn't even put chairs out because they obviously weren't expecting anybody. And it was really sad to see how few people there were there. And apparently we'd lost our consultant. She'd only just joined when I left, really. But we haven't got a consultant now, and there's no consultant for us in sight. There is a new lady started up from my town, but she must have just qualified recently, and she's got a group a few towns away, so perhaps eventually she might come to ours. But apparently there are other groups in the area who have had consultants, who've not had a consultant for longer than us, so they're going to get them first. And there aren't very many consultants coming online in our area anyway. So it's really sad. I mean, I don't even know who's taking the group tomorrow. We had a standing lady the last couple of weeks who was very good, but it just seems to be whoever they can get at the minute to come and take the group. We did ask her if there was any chance that they would close this group, and she said she didn't think so, but I'm not quite so sure. I don't know how long you can go on just having 2 or 3 members turning up, and it's going to take a lot of work for someone to take it over and build it up again from nothing. But you never know, and I am hoping. So I was quite disappointed at how things had gone, and also looking on social media and on YouTube, there are very few Slimming World videos out there now. I think really the GLP-1 is the thing at the minute, and lots of videos about the GLP-1s, and which is great, and it's nice to see. And it's nice to see people doing well. But for those of us who can't or don't want to do the weight loss jabs and tablets, I just think we need an alternative, and to me Slimming World is the best alternative. And so I thought I would come on and start doing videos again, just to try and add to the amount of content that there is on YouTube. I might not do the videos every week, and I may just come on and give you my result and go if I don't feel like I've got anything to say. But I wanted the content, Slimming World content, to be there. There obviously are still people doing Slimming World. I do an alert on Google Alert. I don't know if anybody else does Google Alerts. I really like them. So if you go to Google and put in that you want to do alerts, you can do one for Slimming World. And each morning, anything that there is to do with Slimming World on any media or on the news media, just pops into your email in one email. And I really like those, because when I get up in the morning I have a look at them, and they're full of stories to do with different people who have lost weight in other areas of the country. They're just nice stories, just ones that have been put in local papers or daily papers. And I like reading the stories. I like reading how people have done and how they've lost weight and the difference it's made to their lives. And that's just a little thing that pops into my email every morning, and I really enjoy it. So that's why I've started doing videos again, and I am really hoping that it will pick up for Slimming World. She did say, the consultant, oh well, we've done this before, through COVID we lost a lot of members and they came back afterwards, but unlike COVID, I don't think the GLP-1s are going to go away, and I don't know how Slimming World are going to cope with it. I did notice today they said they're setting up a whole new GLP-1 hub within Slimming World, so they're going to have a whole section of the app with their own recipes, their own meal plan, although why the meal plan is different I'm not sure, but anyway they'll have their own podcast and videos. So you know, they are trying very hard to embrace this new era of the weight loss jabs, but I don't know. I'm just hoping that it will go on. Perhaps they need to make less groups, merge them into one to make them bigger. But anyway, I'm hoping it will get better. So I went back 3 weeks ago and I weighed in at 11 stone 5. The first week I lost 4.5 pounds. The second week I lost a pound, so that takes me back into the 10 stones. And I am hoping that by Christmas I can be somewhere maybe near where I was before. But the one thing I have to tackle is going up to Cumbria when I go to the visits to my mum. I've noticed in the past that I either go up there with the attitude of I'm going to be 100% on Slimming World, and I've done that before successfully, or I go up there and say I'm not doing Slimming World, I'm just going to blow it and eat what I want. I've done that several times as well. Unfortunately, usually I go off plan on the run up to the visit, and I find it very hard to get back on plan when I come home. So I'm going to try this time to do something in the middle, rather than it just being all or nothing. I'm either going there doing it fully or not. So I'm going to try and go more with the attitude of I'll try and do as best as I can, but if a little thing comes up, then I'm not going to stress about it. And I'm hoping that that might work out better, keep things more on an even keel, as it were. I don't know how it'll work. I'm due to go up on Wednesday in 2 days for a few days, so I'll see how it goes. I am taking pouches with me, but I know my brother-in-law's planning to make me a meal that he's very excited about, so I'm looking forward to that, and I don't know what it is or what will be in it, but I'm going to eat it. And try not to stress too much about it. At home, I'm really heading down the road of getting rid of as many of the ultra-processed foods as possible. I think I started thinking about this really when I think about before I had any food problems. I was living at home, and this would be back in the 70s, I suppose, mostly. We didn't have any ultra-processed food. I mean, we had porridge or toast for breakfast, school dinners at dinner time, which were usually meat and veg and potatoes, and then come home and my mum cooked everything from scratch. She'd make pizzas or chilies or meat and potato pies, but everything was made from scratch, and we always had a pudding that was always made from scratch. And she'd do maybe chicken and chips, but the chicken was freshly roasted and the chips were from potatoes, and all our mums in those days used to have a big pan of lard on the cooker, which they'd heat up and use. It sounds quite horrible now, but it was all food. And even in the town, the only takeaway was a chip shop, so the only takeaway we could get would be fish and chips, which it was all made in-house. We used to get pies and cakes over a weekend, but even the baker, all the pies and cakes were made by that baker. They weren't brought in with processed ingredients. So everything was made from real food. And I never had an issue with food then. I was slim, I ate what I wanted, I never had any food noise, I wouldn't even know what it was. So in cutting down the processed foods, I'm hoping to try and still do Slimming World exactly the same, just the same optimised plan, but try and work on the food noise by getting rid of some of these ultra-processed foods. And I've really found over the last 4 weeks it's been working. I feel so much better. I'm not having all the sweeteners I was before, although I'm not really being too strict with myself. I'm just letting it take a natural course. As I can find an alternative for something, then I'll switch it out. I did get rid of all the Diet Coke and Diet Red Bulls that I was drinking earlier in the year, and that's helped a lot. I have been drinking these Fever Trees, which are really nice, but you have to swip them, but at least they're real food. They work out the light ones, just the little cans that are about 150 mils. The light ones are only about 1.5 swips, whereas the full, just ordinary ones are around about 2 to 3 swips. But even the light ones, they haven't got sweetener in. They're not full of all sorts of rubbish ingredients, and I like those. And if I want to have a drink, I'll just put some vodka in, so I can make a nice small little drink for the evening for under 5 swips, and it's really nice. And altogether I'm just feeling an awful lot better, and I think this is where the GLP-1s really come into play, because they do get rid of the food noise for people, which is allowing them to stick to plans long term. So I am trying to find a natural way of getting that same effect, and it's working. It really is working. I really feel a lot better. One thing I did notice though, when I go back to Slimming World, I always feel a bit guilty after my meals because they seem so filling. Today for my dinner I had rice noodles, I had corn pieces, salad, and a healthy extra of peanut butter, and stirred it all in. It was a big bowl, and I was so full afterwards. I tend to think, oh, you're never going to lose weight if you eat like that, because I feel so full. And I always think you're not going to lose this week. There's no way you're going to lose this week being full like that. But I'm going to try and trust it and just eat natural foods and see where it goes. I'm not eating any more cakes or biscuits. I've cut those out altogether. And in the evening I'm just having fruit, or maybe I'll save a bit of healthy extra for a cereal to have instead. Or maybe just try and have a little bit of dark chocolate, but only the stuff that's more on the healthy side of dark chocolate. And it's really working, so that's the way I'm going to continue. I hope everybody else is doing okay. It's been lovely weather, a bit too hot for me. I can't wait till it rains really now. Let me know how you've been getting on and what you've been up to, if you're following a new plan. Lots of people are doing different plans at the minute. We've still got the Losers Club with Lisa and Rufus, although I haven't been able to get there very much because I tend to be away a lot on Wednesdays. And there's still lots of other people doing Slimming World. Jane, of course, who's my favourite Slimming Worlder. I always find her videos incredibly inspiring to see how she's been doing the plan for 2 years, and she's just been solid. You know, her weight loss has been, if you could plot it on a graph, it would pretty much look like a line going all the way down. She's so dedicated and she has such a lot of good advice. So I always recommend watching her videos. And there are lots of other people dotted around doing all kinds of different plans, and they're all good to watch because we're all trying to get to the same place using different methods. And what works for one person doesn't always work for another, but we can all encourage each other. So let me know how you're doing in the comments, and thank you very much for staying with me, and I hope you'll follow and see how I get on. And maybe if you haven't tried Slimming World before, or you're thinking of going back, maybe it would be a great time to start doing some videos, and maybe we can start promoting Slimming World a little bit, because if we don't keep turning up and doing videos, I have a feeling that we could lose it, and that would be terrible. So take care. I shall see you, well, next week. I go to weigh in tomorrow night, but I'll probably do a video next week now and let you know how I've got on. So I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope that you'll see a lot less of me. So take care. Bye!